Hi, this video is going to be called Chores is the Final Frontier. And there's a lot of great content, mostly female creator content on TikTok about, equal division of chores in a, say a heterosexual household. And that this is something that is really a sticking point for a lot of people. And I'm going to relate it personally to my own experience, which I have a lot of experience with chores. And also that there was a post on Facebook or something, a headline about John and Yoko back, probably 5 years before John died. He spent 5 years raising Sean and being a house husband. And he was happy to do that, but there was quotes of him saying, ladies, I get it. It's hard. Like, you work all day, you're busy with the baby and chores, and she comes home and says, what's for dinner, and didn't you pick up my dry cleaning? And again, props to John Lennon for being, he was a genius on so many levels. He worked with Yoko on so many levels, but he took on the role of a woman, a stay-at-home mother for 5 years. And the headline said, John Lennon, genius John Lennon is back. He ends the 5-year strange hiatus of being his wife's house servant. And it just struck me because if the roles were reversed, if Yoko was staying home with their child and doing all the chores, nobody would care. And nobody would care about Yoko's genius going to waste or so it's like the shock that a man of John Lennon's stature and genius would waste his time doing chores for 5 years to support his child and his wife. So this is, this is the big thing about it. What's the big deal about chores? And there's some great, like I say, great women on TikTok who just 50-50. If the woman is working outside the house, 50-50 with the chores. And a lot of men don't understand what 50-50 is, because they don't understand how many chores there are that go on daily. People are really messy. This is the thing. People are messy. And I know personally, I was a stay-at-home mother. My oldest child is 28. So I've been caretaking for, over 28 years. And I came from a rough family, pretty unstable, mental illness, alcoholism. I was the only one of the children to have children in my family. So it was really important to me to have a stable home, to be a great mother. Like, this was my soul calling. So I understand that I wanted to do it. And I met my husband. He was very stable, had a big job in the construction industry, like on the management end. And he came from a very stable household, 7 children. Everybody was very functional. So of course I wanted to fit in. I came from like a really messed up family, and I wanted to get with the program. I wanted to fit in with a stable family. And I had 3 children, within 4 years, 4.5 years. So 3 children pretty close together, all natural childbirth. I nursed my children for 2 years each. I was very into it. It's like, I was into it, and I had gone to art school. I was a really good abstract painter, but I didn't care about painting anymore. And it's a hard field. I mean, unless you're going to put 1000% into being a painter, you're not going to make it. And I didn't want to do that. And I was a lifelong writer. So I had journals, and I wrote short stories and a very bad novel in grad school. But again, writing is difficult. You can write it, but then you have to edit it, you have to market it, and it's extremely difficult. So I was at home with the children, really put everything into it, and I wrote, my journal, maybe story ideas, but I didn't have the energy to pursue my writing career, which is extreme. And it was difficult to access the material when I was trying to be a good role model. Trying to be, I've written a novel, 600 pages. I'm marketing it, trying to, have my epic TV series, but it's really dark material. And as a mother, I had a hard time accessing dark material, doing my art while raising the children. And my husband, you know, he's in construction and very practical. And he would say, well, Linda, you know, I always wondered why you didn't pursue your writing until now, until like my daughter graduated from high school. And he doesn't understand the artistic process, but he also doesn't understand that the toll that caretaking the children took. And like I say, I took it on. And my husband, and because I went to art school, I had bad jobs. You know, it's not like I had a big career that would warrant paying childcare. And who was there anybody? You know, I didn't have family help. My sister didn't help me. My mother didn't help me. My mother-in-law didn't help me. I didn't have any family help, which, you know, makes a big difference. So I wanted to take care of my children all on my own. My husband worked very long hours. He would leave at 4:45 in the morning, but not to go to work. He would go to the gym. And later, you know, he said, well, he didn't do very good workouts. He would sit around with the other men and do a little bit on the bike and hot tub and sauna. And this is how he started his days, doing whatever he wanted and calling it going to work. And of course, this is sanctioned. You know, Brian with his big job and goes to the gym. What a man. And nothing I did was sanctioned. It's like, well, she's just at home. But, you know, getting up with 3 kids, you know, I remember one year everybody had strep throat like 11 times between me and the kids. And my one son, and still is, he's a pain in the ass. And very smart, very intelligent, but he alone was as much work as 3 children. He had a very hard time going to school. He, even preschool he didn't like, kindergarten he didn't like, first grade he didn't like. I had to do so much interfacing with social workers, psychiatrists, you know, school social workers, truant officers, getting him educational evaluations, different medications. And, you know, his file would go this high. And again, I did all of that. And, you know, a psychiatrist gets paid $200 an hour. I get paid nothing. And I was the one that would know this medication made him psychotic. And I was the one that had to get him to school every day. And sometimes he was home. Sometimes he was suicidal. Sometimes, you know, I had to find private schools. I had to get the school to pay for it. I had to be interfacing with principals and trying to get everybody on my side to get Kevin through the system. And this was, of course, an enormous amount of work. And if you would, you know, rack up, you know, if I spent 10 hours a day, well, on chores, but, you know, several hours a day also on Kevin's monitoring his mental state, which to find a psychiatrist to save his life, to get him a note so he wouldn't be truant at school, to work with the principal, to work with the teachers, to get him at the door. And a lot of times he stayed home. So, and I was home every day, and my husband left at 4:45 every morning to go to the gym. He did not want to. He did not want to do that. Of course, I would like to have been somewhere else, but, you know, I had to do it, and there was nobody else to do it. And this is the thing. And, you know, the dinner, the laundry, cleaning toilets, grocery shopping, medication, dental appointments for the kids. It was an enormous amount of work, and probably 10 hours a day, I would say, roughly, for 22 years. You know, unpaid labor. And my point is that I supported my husband's big career because he wouldn't be able to go to a 7 a.m. meeting. He had to get the kids, if he had to get the kids to school. He wouldn't be able to stay late at the office. And his kind of job, they would apologize to the families at the Christmas parties. Sorry to the spouses for how many hours the spouse works just to do the job. So, and now my husband, he can't understand. He's like, well, you wanted to be a stay-at-home mother. It's like, somebody has to do it. And anyway, now I do less. I can't do those chores. He cooks a lot, and, you know, I do less. Of course, I only have one child at home. And I got my career.